good morning, and happy Friday to everyone. I'm so happy to be here, happy to be alive. This weather's kind of different, but I want to, before I start with my guest, I'd like to send condolences to the family of Dr. Clarence Stone, who was a principal and administrator at the Highland Park College. He was a principal at Highland Park High School, and he also was an interim principal at Southfield High a couple of times, and he was my principal 3 times in my life, and he was the man who gave me tenure, and he just has left a wonderful legacy. He passed away New Year's Eve. His services are tomorrow, which is the 11th of January at Empowerment Church. I just wanted to give that shout out to the family. He left a beautiful legacy. Now, on for my show. I have a great show for you this morning. My second guest is going to be State Representative Kyra Harris Bolden, and my first guest is a career expert. This is Linda Taliaferro. Good morning.
Good morning, Brenda. Good morning. It's such an honor to be here.
I'm so happy for you to be here because you're doing something, and I read all about you, that so many people need when they get in the workplace to enhance and to move up.
Yes, exactly.
But first, let's hear a little bit about Linda. Where you're from, what got you here?
Well, I'm originally from Newcastle, Pennsylvania. It's a very small town north of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And what brought me to Detroit was a shift in my career, as what I help many of my clients do. I had an opportunity to broaden my skill set at Detroit Diesel and learn some purchasing skills to add to the quality skills that I had in my background. So I jumped at that opportunity. And that brought me here actually from South Carolina, where I lived for a number of years working in the automobile industry.
Oh, they had an automobile industry in South Carolina.
Yes. Actually, Bosch. Bosch has a location there where I worked a number of years out of college in their fuel injection and ABS plant, and then BMW. We can't forget about BMW.
That's
exactly.
right. I did hear about that.
Yes, exactly.
I did hear about
in Greenville, that. Yes.
You know, growing up in Detroit, we think all cars are here. You
True,
know.
right.
So
right.
You came here and you worked for
a Detroit Diesel. Yes,
right.
That's what brought me into the Detroit area.
And then what?
Then I moved, my career moved. I shifted into Hayes Lemmertz, that is where I actually entered into the executive ranks. My first opportunity to become a director happened at Hayes Lemmertz. Hayes is now known as Maxey on Wheels. And that's where I was able to find out what that secret sauce was to get my seat at the table. It started at Hayes Lemmertz.
Wow. So what did you notice? There were some things, I'm sure, because you worked your way up that corporate ladder.
Yes.
So what were any impediments you might have noticed?
You know, I've had a 30-year career, Brenda, and it's a great question because there were things that I wish I knew early in my career that I learned the hard way. One of the major ones was understanding that relationships are critical. I used to go to work every day, and I told myself often, I don't come to work to make friends. I have friends outside of work.
Right.
I don't come to work to make friends. I come to get the job done and to go home.
So in that coming to work, not to make friends, what was your relationship like with the people that you worked with?
I was cordial. You know, we may have spoke in passing, but that's where it ended. No one really knew who I was.
Okay.
No one knew what I'd like to do. I wasn't intentional about making connections, and I really didn't even advocate for myself and let people know what my skill sets were above and beyond what they saw me doing day to day. That was the difference. I just came in, kept my head down, worked hard, and thought that was enough.
Wow. Yes, but you found out differently.
I found out quite differently that it wasn't enough. I mean, I was in the same position year after year after year, couldn't figure out why I wasn't moving throughout the organization. I thought that I was good at what I do. And I was good at what I did at the time. Excellent education, having an engineering degree at Carnegie Mellon. And so I sincerely was confused and couldn't figure out why I could not get that next level opportunity. And it was not until I had really through another mutual friend, a connection at Hayes Lembert's, and was given an opportunity for a next level role. And it was a director role. And the conversation I had with this gentleman was the turning point. He said to me, he says, Lynn, and actually, Brenda, they were going to fill that role externally.
Oh,
He
okay.
told them to hold up a second.
Yeah.
There's someone here you need to talk to because I believe she would be good in that role. And when he opened the door for that opportunity, he made this statement to me that sticks with me to this day. Linda, we know you're good at knocking down the pins, meaning you're good at your job. Make sure they like you.
Oh, wow. He said it
I
like
mean,
that.
he just put
just laid it on
He just
the line.
laid it on. He just laid it out there. He just laid it out there, and I was like,
And what did you think?
well, at first I didn't know what to think, and all I said was, okay, sure.
Did you question?
Okay, sure.
But did you question yourself as to why would he say that in particular?
Well, yes, I did. I wondered exactly what it meant by like me. And I did ask him a few questions. I said, Kurt, people I thought do like me. He says, yeah, Linda, but they don't really know you. He said, and you're entering into a different business unit. Make sure not only, they're confident that you're going to be successful in getting the job done, but you need to connect. You want to be part of the team, and you want to be thought of as part of the team. And in order to do that, it's going to take more than just your smile and a hello and being good at what you do. But I will tell you, Brenda, yeah, he did share that, but it still didn't resonate with me until I got into that role and had to then execute, had to figure out how to maneuver, that level as a director,
Right.
as well as allowing myself to open up and share, I'm from Newcastle, only child, went to, little nuances and interesting
Right. And then
information.
show other people you're interested in them.
Exactly.
Right.
Be able to walk into an office, thank you, Vin. Walk into an office, notice something on someone's desk, and say, oh, you like football too? Being intentional about
Right,
that
right.
and finding a connection point.
And not
of what-
mechanical.
No, it has to be. It has to be
sincere.
It has to be sincere, authentic, and genuine. Because
Right.
people pick that up when you're
Right.
faking it. And so, doing that. And I tell you, I am a people person anyway. So it was fairly easy. But it was when it came to the point of people then responding, that is when I noticed that was part of the secret sauce. When I saw the difference in how people reacted to me in rooms when I was in a meeting, or people would then seek me out for my input and my voice in situations because we had connected. We built a relationship. They got to know me above and beyond the tasks at hand that I did every day.
Right. And that's important because a lot of times the more that people know about you to a certain extent,
Yes.
they can say, wow, she's really good at that. Or
Yes, and here's the key. I'm not saying that you're going to share your best, darkest, deepest secrets, and
Right.
that's not what I'm talking about.
Right.
But leadership is about establishing a level of trust.
Right.
People have to trust you.
Right.
How do people trust you?
And they have to believe what you say.
Yes, and in order to do that, they have to get to know you.
Right.
It has to be built on a level of relationship above and beyond coming in every day and just sitting at your desk.
So, what made you establish yourself as a career expert?
Well, like I said, I had over 30 years of experience in manufacturing. And as I was moving up the ladder, Brenda, I would look left, right, and in front of me, and there was no one that looked like me. That one lesson and many others that I learned, I had to learn the hard way. Right? I didn't have that advocate, that mentor, that person I could go reach out to and talk to. So I ended up, as I learned these lessons, I'm a believer that to whom much is given, much is required.
Yes.
And so as I learned these lessons, I began to share them with other women in the organization, other new people that would come in fresh out of college, and I became a mentor throughout my career.
Right.
And then in 2017, I'll go back a couple years before that, 2015, when I was recognized at the Women of Color Conference, I met a young woman, Jerisha Hawk, who at the time was at Consumers Energy. And she was intent on getting to know me and establishing a mentee-mentor relationship. It was and she was not at my company. Usually what I was doing throughout my 30-year career was helping those that were within my four walls. It was that initial experience with her here in the Detroit area that made me think, I have I would love to have a broader reach outside of the company that I'm currently at and really make an impactful change in people's lives, professional lives, that are trying to get that seat that I have today.
Right, absolutely.
That's what
because they
sparked
don't
me.
always teach that in college.
They don't teach it at all.
At all.
Even, I mean, they didn't back then when I went in the 80s, and they definitely still don't today. And it makes the difference in young people's corporate success.
Well, my son is in corporate. I mean, he's the director of the state of Michigan for Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, the textbook company.
Oh, yes.
And he noticed that he lives in Ohio, but he notices about that he's right under being a vice president, and he notices that they tend to hire people who are just like them.
Exactly. Look like them, act like them. Yes,
Right,
absolutely.
and were raised like them and so forth.
All of that,
But,
yes.
you know, that limits what a corporation can do because
Yes.
you don't have that other viewpoint.
Which is so important. That's why diversity inclusion is critical in the success of a corporation. At Meritor, we're intentional about that. But it has taken time over the years for senior leadership to recognize the benefit of it.
Right.
It has taken
Absolutely.
a long time.
Absolutely. I wanted to ask you about this because it was somebody he said would be a good hire, but they had to check. They had to go one step above my son for an interview, right? This
okay.
team to interview him.
Okay.
This guy, he had the credentials and everything, and they asked for his resume when he got to the table, and he handed them the phone. He had his resume on the phone. What is that about? I'm having problems with that because I'm in theater and people come to auditions and they have a phone.
Phone.
I
Yes.
mean, and they're squinting to look and everything. They need people like you to tell them, listen, when you go in, that's your last chance. You pass this and that, but there's still somebody who can nix your career.
Absolutely. I mean, the hiring process has not changed over the years. I mean, and it will not because, again, we're back to connecting with people. And you need to show up understanding what's required to do so. I have a number of young people, and sometimes they like the word millennial and they don't, and so. But I have a number of young people on my team, and we are talking constantly about how you need to show up differently, above and beyond looking at that phone. How I need you when you're in the room to engage and look at someone in their eyes. How I need you to intentionally build relationships.
Absolutely.
It's not texting. It's not emailing. You know, it's actually having conversation. Dialogue. I had a client myself who did actually the same thing in an interview process. Killed her. She did not get the job. We engaged in my business afterwards, and she had somewhat of a level of arrogance and couldn't understand why they didn't hire her.
Because I have this credential, I have that credential. Yes.
And matter of fact, instead of using her phone, she said to them, well, don't you already have my resume? Haven't you? I was like, oh,
My gosh.
okay.
Yeah.
And then I told her when we were just engaging, she was a client, and I was trying to get her unstuck. And I said, and you wonder why they were interested in hiring you. You set an unfortunate negative impression of how it is to engage with you, what you may show up and look like being on a team.
You don't take for granted anything.
Do not.
I mean, really.
And she, yes, she went to Ross Business School. She had all the wonderful credentials, absolutely, but did not know how to relate and connect and show up properly, appropriately, engaging in an interview process. It's so extremely important. And unfortunately, we really don't teach that in college either.
Well, you wrote an article in Black Magazine this month.
Yes.
You can look at it online, Linda Taliaferro, and you gave some tips.
Yes.
And I thought they were very good tips.
Yes, exactly. So 5 tips, and they're extremely important in shifting the career trajectory. We've talked about one already, and that is building relationships. The other one I mentioned somewhat earlier, and that is having a mentor. It is important to seek out someone within your organization or outside the organization that has a vested interest in your success, a vested interest in you as a person as well, that has experience, is willing to share their challenges, their successes, and help you along the way. So relationships are important. Having a mentor is important.
Let's talk about that.
Sure.
EQ. All right, there's IQ
Yes,
and
I
then
was going to
there's
move to
EQ.
that one
Yes,
exactly. IQ and EQ are two. IQ, how smart you are,
right.
those schools you went to, the grades you got, those credentials are truly the price of entry. That's all it is. People expect you to be able to have high emotional intelligence or EQ. How do you handle conflict? Are you self-aware? Do you understand relationship management? Can you handle yourself in a critical crisis situation with poise? How do you speak and communicate? Is it concise? Is it clear? You command a room. Emotional intelligence, along with executive presence, is that it factor that most people miss when they're trying to get to a director level or VP and above. The other thing that I mentioned in the article, and it really, I believe, is the first step, even before everything we've talked about today, is knowing that you deserve it, understanding your worthiness. I mean, especially as African American women in
Right.
manufacturing in the corporate world, or anyone of ethnicity, there's a chance. And I know for me early on, I was not as confident. I was not as bold and did not stand in my worthiness
Right.
early in my career.
Right.
So it's important to understand that you deserve the seat at the table, but you've got to do the work to get there.
Yes.
Which is why I call my business the extra effort, because it does take work to get there. So those are some of the keys that I share in the article. I would love people to take a look online. There's more context under each one of them
Right.
that can help you understand how to implement those in your career journey.
Absolutely, because a lot of times, and I've seen it even in education, because as you know, I taught for a number of years, people, they came in wanting to be a principal. I mean, they were a teacher, but I plan to be a principal in all of this. And they just, sometimes that's at the forefront of their head as opposed to doing the
Doing
work
the work,
to
exactly.
get there.
Exactly. I can't tell you a number of young people that I have come across that is exactly what happens. Why am I not a senior manager right now? Why am I not a director? I'm coaching a young man right now with that mentality. And he's been in the workplace maybe, what, 4 or 5 years since he's graduated from college? Yes, he's great at what he does, but there's a lot of other things he needs to sharpen and strengthen before he's truly ready to be successful in that next role. And it's that level of patience and understanding what it takes to get there, and then being able to do the work. Not discounting his ability to be successful there, but we want to make sure you have every aspect that you need, which the interpersonal skills are usually what people forget about. Either unaware of them, or they forget about the fact that they need to strengthen
Well,
those.
let's talk about some of the negatives that people give off that keeps them from moving up the ladder.
Yes.
Besides the fact that that person who's above them or ahead of them already have a mindset.
Yes.
And how many times haven't you had to change their mindset about
Yes.
you as a black woman?
Yes, absolutely. Shift their paradigm,
Right.
whether it's the angry black woman syndrome, because I may be very forthright and resolute in my comment and my communication. So some of the negatives, and Brenda, I will tell you, 9 times out of 10, we are in our own way. But we do have to take the time to educate and to show up differently. So I'll share a couple of them. One is having that chip on your shoulder. I helped a young woman several years ago who walked around constantly with the preference in her mind, and how she showed up is that I will never get that next opportunity because I am a black woman and the white man's not going to give it to me. That's the boulder that was on her shoulder, and it showed up in the way that she was very negative. Even her appearance, never smiled. Was always on edge in every meeting, constantly was antagonistic. She was very difficult to deal with. Excellent. I mean, she was the best engineer that you got. I mean, she's excellent at what she did. But nobody could get past her demeanor or her personality to get to the skill
Right.
and then want to bring her on the team
Right,
so that
right.
they could move the initiative to the next level. So we worked we had to peel back some layers to figure out and understand, where's that anger coming from and why are you walking in it every day, and helping her understand how it's transcending and translating to everybody else that comes to you. Now, I'm not naive. I do know bigotry, biasness, racist, that all exists, right? But if we decide that it is the end all be all, and we are going to carry that wagon, push and pull it, and allow it to stop us, then it will. And it did in her case. But when she really did some self-reflection and work, and she started to peel back why she was feeling that way, allowing herself to let go of some of that past. She made some mistakes, she had some situations, she let some of it go. She started to show up differently. She actually was engaging. She started to notice people were connecting differently. Then they were asking her, could you join us in this next meeting? We need your input, we need your voice. It caught her aback a couple of times because that was new territory for her.
Right.
And then, she wasn't, every now and then she would show up and maybe stumble a little bit. But long story short, she ended up getting promoted a year after doing that kind of work. She had a special assignment overseas, went and knocked that out, which we knew she would. And because she had done that work and decided to let go of some of those past hurts, she started to show up differently. She got promoted.
Right. So having that chip on your shoulder, being defensive.
Defensive.
Being
Yes,
defensive.
yes.
That's something
Exactly.
I never forget. I went to one of the teachers, because I was the department chair, but
Mm-hmm.
teacher too, and saying, listen, the secretary has told me that you've been coming in late. You don't want the administrators to know about this, so forth and so on.
Yes.
And she started saying, yeah, well, they're racist and this and that, as opposed to looking at
Reflect-
the issue.
Exactly. Look at the issue. Exactly. It's exactly it. So on point.
You're not entitled to be late. I mean,
Absolutely.
and I'm giving a
Absolutely.
word to the wise to
Absolutely.
be sufficient.
Yes, yeah.
Don't shoot the messenger.
Right. And it was the same with this young woman. She had challenges. She had things she needed to address. And they had nothing to do with her skin color. They had absolutely nothing to do with it.
Right.
And once she addressed those, her world changed. Her world completely changed in the corporate.
And I think that being a team player is good and great. Also, part of that team, you still have to have your own ideas.
Oh, absolutely.
You have to have your own ideas.
You have to have your own and have earned the right to voice them.
Right.
You're not entitled to,
Right.
just because of the piece of paper or the credentials or what you thought you brought in the door. But you do have to earn the right to voice them. And how you do that is by building those relationships, establishing a network internal in your corporation so you have people advocating for you because they like you, right? And having those small wins. So you're bringing value to the table above and beyond that resume list of credentials. You actually have executed. And you've helped other people raise their initiatives to another level and be successful as well. It's not all about your world, right? So that's how you show that, yes, I am an overall team player. I have a voice. That voice is strong. I have wonderful ideas. Yes, they're excellent. And they will take us to the next level because I've shown you in the past in small wins. That's how you make the difference as well.
Yes, and I think along with that is being able to have that conversation with people, listening
Yes.
to them listening to you. And
Absolutely.
sometimes you might have to compromise.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. It is a give and take world. It is not, I mean, in the corporate world, it is not just, and you are the end all be all and everything your way is the only way. No, it is a give and take. That's why relationships are so important.
So how do people reach you? There's somebody going to be on here or watching you who wants to move up that ladder.
Yes.
And, this show will be going on again today and so forth and so on. How do they get to
Connect
reach
with
out
me.
to you?
Well, they can connect with me directly via email at hello@TEE, that's TEE, LLC.net. My website, my name, lindataliaferro.com.
Spell Taliaferro for
I
me.
will. It's Linda, and then T as in Tom, ALIA, F as in Frank, ERRO.com.
Okay, now the first one you gave was your website?
That is my email address.
Oh, email
Would
address.
love, yes, they can contact me. All this information is in my website, so probably the best and easiest place to go is my website.
Right.
My Instagram handle is there. You can connect with me on Facebook as well as LinkedIn, and my email address is on my website as well.
I really think you're providing a great service in this social media world.
Yeah, yes.
And this world where so many people are connected to that
On their phone. And
interpersonal relationships, that's
it's so important. And I would invite your audience, people that are watching this, to join me Tuesdays. Every Tuesday at 9 p.m., I go live on Facebook.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yes, and I give nuggets on what I call Transformational Tuesdays. So helping people move their career trajectory. We're actually this month talking about emotional intelligence.
Wow.
So it'd be great if they could join me Tuesday nights, Facebook Live at 9 o'clock.
right, absolutely. Well, you saw her here, everyone. Linda Taliaferro, if you want to know more information about her, also call me here at the station. She's a guru. That's all I can say.
Thank you so much, Brenda. It's been an honor. It's been an honor and a
It's
joy.
an honor to have you. Now, stay tuned, everyone. We have State Representative Kyra Harris Bolden on next. I'm real excited about that, too.
You can have your own party on TV. Party with R.J. Watkins and the TV33 family when you hold your own Facebook watch party. Connect all your friends with our friends, and we can have a watch party together. Watch your favorite TV shows when you want, how you want, with your favorite people. Here's how it works. Log on to Facebook from your computer or tablet and go to the R.J. Watkins fan page at facebook.com/TV33WHPR. The one with the blue WHPR logo on the left. Like us. Click the word videos with the red tag that says live next to it. Then click the share button at the bottom of the video player and select start a watch party. Invite whoever you want. Your party will be recorded and archived for playback anytime you want. 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. At the end of the month, the viewer that has the most people at their watch party will be invited on the TV show live. Come on, let's have a party.
Hi, this is LaWanda,
This is R.J. Watkins.
coming to you to bring you some information about the #1 detox in the nation, Lemon Burn. Lemon Burn helps to turn the fat into fit. It's for you, a happier, healthier you, because you know healthy is the new beautiful. An all-natural way to improve your health. It promotes a healthy digestive system, attacks and reduces belly fat, as well as gives you energy. Need to get yours today. Call 313-868-6612.
Don't forget to exercise and eat right.
Watkins Broadcasting is going worldwide. Now you can watch Detroit's own WHPR on your TV from anywhere in the world. No matter where you are, you can stay in the know with WHPR TV and Roku. You can get your easy-to-install Roku box from wherever you shop for your entertainment gear. Once your Roku box is connected to your TV and internet, go to the channel store on the home menu of the Roku box. Enter WHPR TV in the search engine and add it to your channels. That's it. That's all you need to get the best in entertainment, news, and talk, no matter where you are. Roku brings all of your favorites to your TV. Netflix, Hulu Plus, Crackle, HBO Go, and now WHPR TV, Detroit Live. Now you can watch WHPR TV33 on Fire Stick. Catch all of your favorites. Stay informed. Don't miss a minute of your favorite talk shows. Call, text, tweet, post. WHPR TV33 is worldwide on Fire Stick. For more information, go to FirestickTVNetwork.com or call us at 313-868-6612. WHPR TV 33, a Watkins Broadcasting Company. TV 33 is moving to WHPS TV channel 15.2. Make sure to rescan the channels on your TV. Then go to WHPS channel 15.2 to pick up TV 33 and all of your favorite shows. The move is on, and we want you to move with us to WHPS channel 15.2.
I am back with a young lady who has, well, she's the first African-American woman in this position. She's the state rep. Her name is Kyra Harris Bolden, right?
Yes.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Good morning.
I am so excited about you doing this and being a state rep. You are the first African-American woman in that particular.
I am the first African American woman to serve the 35th House District. Nancy Quarles,
Right.
our county commissioner, and she's also an AKA, represented Southfield and Lathrop Village before the lines were redrawn.
Right.
So
right,
yes.
Right.
Yes.
I remember that.
Yes.
I know Nancy.
Yes.
I know Nancy. So,
Absolutely.
Kyra, let's hear a little about you, and then we'll get into some issues. Give us a little of your history.
Sure. So I was born and raised in Southfield, went to Southfield Public Schools, went to Stevenson, Bernie, Southfield, Lathrop. Fun fact, my husband also went to Southfield Public Schools. His parents live around the corner from my parents.
Oh, my God. Did you know him then?
We knew each other. We actually went to preschool together, too. And we ended up both going to Grand Valley State University for college, started dating my junior year. And then he was getting his degree in biomedical sciences. I was getting my degree in psychology. He went on to dental school at University of Detroit Mercy Dental, and I went to the University of Detroit Mercy School of Law. And so we, so we are a Michigan family, and we have all of our graduations in common, and because our parents live around the corner from each other, it was important for us to move back to Southfield and kind of invest in the community that invested in us, and so we live 7 minutes away from both of our sets of parents.
Wow. That is
We love our
really-
community.
Yes.
We really love our community.
So you knew him in high school?
Knew him in high school, yes.
He went to Lathrop?
He went to Lathrop.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, yes.
You two must know each other very well.
Yes, we do, we do.
Do you have
And
any children yet?
no children yet. No
Okay.
children yet.
But never know. You never know.
So we've been married 3.5 years.
Oh.
We're enjoying building, enjoying our marriage.
Please do
and
that.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Please do that.
Yes.
Because children, I won't say, they transform the relationship. It makes it even stronger.
Yes.
But you have to be strong initially.
Absolutely.
Right,
Absolutely.
Right. So tell me this. So you went to Grand Valley.
Yes.
Then you went to law school. What law did you study, you know?
So for law school, it was kind of general. I never really imagined I would be kind of the litigation attorney, even though that's kind of what happened after. I always wanted to work in government or nonprofit.
Oh, did
and when
you?
I was in law school, I worked as a volunteer on a lot of judicial campaigns, kind of city council campaigns. And so I was always interested in helping people get elected that I thought might represent me well.
Right.
That was always very important to me, and just being active in my community. But later, I became a judicial law clerk for the Honorable Judge John A. Murphy in Wayne County Third Circuit Court on the civil docket. So I saw everything from slip and falls to car insurance to breach of contract, and I got a really great foundation of learning the law as a neutral as opposed to an adversarial role. And then I actually went to Lewis and Monday. which is
Did you?
and was an associate attorney there, and did kind of the same civil work on the corporate side because they're a corporate firm. And before I ran for office.
So, what made you decide to run for office? Now, this is your first office that you held?
It's my first time running for office, first time holding office, yes.
Did you, well, you had been around some campaigns, so you knew a little about it.
Yeah, so when I was in law school, running for office was not the goal at all. I just really wanted to help people get elected because I thought that they were good people. But later, I just started to think about how much I love this community, how much I want to continue to be active, and how much I want to serve. And I've always wanted to serve in a nonprofit or governmental aspect. And so I started thinking about running for Southfield City Council. And I had been planning to do that the year before, so this would have been in 2017. I kind of was planning on running for City Council. But then our state rep, Jeremy Moss, was announcing that he was going to run for the Senate seat that was being vacated by then Senator Vincent Gregory. And then there were just a couple of people that reached out to me and they said, I think you should do this. And I had already been kind of planning on running for office at the time. And so I said no to everybody, and I was like, no, I don't think that this is the right time. I was just kind of a year and a half into working for Lewis and Monday, kind of a partner track type of thing. But I really just decided, I'm qualified. I really want to serve my community, and, let's do it.
So Jeremy Moss had been state rep.
Yes.
I remember that.
Yes.
And then he ran for Vince Gregory's seat.
Yes.
So you decided to run for Jeremy Moss's seat.
Yes.
So what was your challenge, one of your challenges?
So I think with running for any office, the main challenge is obviously getting your name out there and raising money.
Right.
Those
Yes.
are the hardest things. And obviously I had been in the community, but not in any official capacity. So name ID and just asking people for money is just very, very difficult.
Yes, yes. Sometimes there are people who run for office, they don't have any money.
Yes. I had very little.
Right. At
the time.
But you raised money. You found you had to get that name recognition.
Absolutely.
So what did you do? Did you go around to homes? Or what?
Absolutely. So I knocked thousands and thousands and thousands of doors, as well as anybody knows my mother. She was right out there with me every step of the way. And there's no better advocate for you
Than
your mom, truthfully. And she's just a sweet person. She worked in HR for years, and everyone just loves her. And so a lot of times she was a better advocate for me than kind of myself at times, because it's hard talking about yourself and what you've done. But yeah.
And what you could do for people.
Absolutely. So but connecting with people directly. And I was very intentional of making sure that if someone wanted to talk to me, I talked to them for as long as they wanted to talk to me.
Okay. So what were some of the things that you felt you could help the community with?
So one of the main things was education, and still is education.
Yeah.
So I went to Southfield Public Schools. I want to see every school in the state of Michigan thrive because it's really important to attracting and maintaining and retaining our talent. So we produce a lot of great people. We have some of the best universities in the world, and a lot of people don't want to stay in Michigan. So we want to make sure that the education is there, as well as the opportunities once people graduate, so that they can stay in Michigan. It was very, very important to me because I know the majority of my friends have fled the state of Michigan.
Fled.
That's
the
fled.
teacher.
Yes,
That's
yes.
the
No,
teacher.
yes, no, thank you.
Yes.
I has fled the state of Michigan.
Right. Absolutely.
And so we want to make sure that our education supports retaining our talent.
Right, absolutely. So it seems like, but it's funny because so many of my former students, because I'm kind of known around Southfield because I taught there so long, but they're trying to come back from California, from different states. They're trying to come back now because they see some things going on here in the Detroit area that
Yeah.
can benefit them.
Absolutely.
And that they can bring that talent back.
Absolutely, absolutely. Job opportunities are very important. One of the other things that's very important is just infrastructure, right? You have to be able to get to work.
Yes.
And you have to be able to trust that you are not going to get into a car accident because of the potholes, or that,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
all those things. Infrastructure is incredibly important.
We're having an issue with that because we've been having an issue with that for quite a long time, haven't we?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Because people have told me they're all fine, and then when they get over the state line, say coming I-75, they get over the state line, they could tell they're in Michigan.
Yes, yes. It's a bumpy road. It's a
Yes,
bumpy road.
and the governor has proposed some things that haven't been accepted very well.
Yes. And I think that in shared government, obviously our legislature is controlled by our Republican colleagues, and then we have our governor. And so there have been, you know, figuring out of sorts of how we're going to all work together to achieve our common goals, right? I don't think that Republicans want to drive on potholes more than Democrats. So we all need to figure out how we're going to get together.
Wasn't there a thing where she wanted to raise the gas tax 40-something percent?
That was her proposal.
40-something cent?
Yes, 45-cent gas tax.
Yes.
Yes, that was the proposal. And I think she's always been very clear that she was open to negotiation as long as it got to the $2.5 billion number that we need to fix our infrastructure. And so in waiting for kind of some other proposals to be brought to the table, that was her solution that she brought to the table. But you have to negotiate.
Yeah, you do have to negotiate. And I guess the thing with citizens, the citizenry, is the fact that, wow, now I'm already paying, well, if I use my credit card, I'm paying $279, $289, whatever, and now I'm going to have this steady 45 cents added. That's really, really crazy, especially since we don't have a mass transit
Absolutely.
situation here.
Absolutely.
That's an issue too.
Absolutely, which we are talking about. We are talking about mass transit in Lansing, and hopefully we'll get the ball rolling in the spring on that, because that is critical to have an alternative. And then don't even mention the high cost of car insurance rates. So driving in Michigan is very, very expensive for us. And so it's all about working together and proposing solutions that we can all agree to, that we can all live with, to move our state forward. Unfortunately, we have neglected the problem for so long that we have a $2.5 billion problem.
Yes.
And we can't cut our way out of that.
Right, because I was thinking as you were talking about the infrastructure, I was thinking of the fact, I said, this is over years of not fixing these roads. So now we're trying to make up for the time that we lost.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, again, you know, I think that our governor is open to solutions, but it has to solve the problem.
Yes.
We can't continue to kick the can down the road.
Right, because in many ways, do you remember a few years ago, I think Brenda was still the mayor of Southfield at the time, Congresswoman Lawrence was still I've known her
Yes.
a long time.
Yeah.
So in front of Northland, how the roads were in front of Northland was awful.
Yes, absolutely.
It was
I do remember that.
It was like
Yes. Yes.
Oh.
It was terrible. Those have been fixed.
Yes, of course.
You know, and we did do a bond proposal in Southfield to fix a lot of the roads. So we're working on those. But, you know, again, this is a statewide problem that we definitely need to address.
It definitely needs to be addressed. And I was just thinking about the roads and new drivers learning to drive and potholes. I've had so many friends who have had major damage to their cars.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And winter is upon us again. And, you know, so what happens is you see all the barrels in the summertime. Everyone gets upset about the traffic, and then the wintertime hits and everyone gets upset about the snow, and then the snow melts and everyone's back to being upset about, you know, the potholes that are going to emerge because of the snow and the salt and all of those things.
Now, is the is the Congress, well, what do they call you all? The state
Representatives. Yes.
Yeah, the body.
Yeah,
What is
the
it?
legislature.
Legislature.
Yes.
Is it extremely partisan, or are you able to talk to each other?
I think it is on an individual basis and how you take it. So when I came in, I think about this as an attorney. If I'm on the plaintiff side or the defense side or whatever side I'm on, I don't hate opposing counsel. We have different ideas about the outcome of a case. And so I kind of look at my colleagues like that. We have different ways of thinking, but we all kind of have the same ideas of what needs to be fixed, if that makes sense.
Right.
So I have really...
It's just about the way to go about it.
It's about the way to go about it. And it's about, talking to people, what's important to them, and figuring out if there's a compromise, if there's a negotiation there. But I have really tried to build relationships across the aisle and maintain really kind of solid foundation so that we can have tough conversations. It's hard to have tough conversations with people that you don't have a relationship with. But I will say kind of on the floor, we kind of all talk to each other, we move around, and it's really good. I was just appointed to the Ways and Means Committee by our
What
speaker.
does Ways and Means
Yes,
mean?
yeah, what does that mean?
Let's talk about that.
So there are 3 super committees in the House, the Michigan House, which means they report directly to the House floor. Mm-hmm. All the other committees have to go through one of these committees. So the Judiciary Committee is a super committee, and it evaluates any proposed bill that has a criminal penalty. Mm-hmm. So if you have a health policy issue and it has a criminal penalty attached to it, then it would then go to the secondary committee of judiciary, and then it would be reported to the House floor if we report it. The Ways and Means Committee filters all of the other committees that don't have a criminal penalty.
Okay.
So every single commerce, agriculture, health policy, all of the other committees, the secondary step to get to the floor is through the Ways and Means Committee.
Okay.
So it's really important because that is kind of where the buck stops.
Right. And then when you put something on the floor, that's when a vote happens, right?
That's when the vote of the body happens. So it's a 2-step process for any bill to get to the floor, and so it's very difficult to get a law passed, which I think people don't realize. So it's a 2-step process to even get out of committee, and then it's a vote on the House floor, and then the process starts all over in the Senate. And so I have the pleasure of sitting on both the Judiciary Committee and the Ways and Means Committee. So I see like over 90%, I will see over 90% of the bills before it gets to the House floor.
Right.
So I'm very, very proud of that. And it's because I think I built a really good relationship with my colleagues on the other side as well as my Democratic colleagues.
Excellent. I'm so proud of you. I listened to you talk. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Now, what was your biggest challenge once you got there? What was something that you didn't expect that you saw?
So being in the minority is very...
How far, what is that ratio?
Sure. So we are 4 seats in the House away from taking the majority.
Oh, goodness gracious.
We are 4 seats down, but being in the minority is very interesting because I think a lot of people don't realize kind of what majority and minority means. And if you just kind of look on the federal level, it means that all of my colleagues from the other side determine the chairs of the committees. The chairs determine what bills are brought up for a hearing. They don't have to bring up bills for a hearing. And that was something that actually kind of surprised me. I didn't realize that before I got into the office. I just thought that if you introduce a bill, it gets a hearing, yay or nay, and we move on. No, you literally don't have to bring up a bill for a hearing. And so that's kind of the first challenge and eye-opener that I saw. People also don't realize that you don't have control over the session schedule, and so when people are saying you're not working over the summer, we don't have the power to call session. So
okay.
it's just different things like that.
So we're only 4 seats away?
We're only 4 seats away.
But that seems like a million miles
It is.
away.
It is not. It is not. It's definitely doable, and there's a very clear path.
That's what I wanted
Yes.
to know, how
Yes.
doable it is.
Yes.
So I'll help.
Yes, 2020 is the
Right,
year.
right. Because now also this state was one of the states that brought the president in to office. And it might have been, some people blame it all on black people who didn't come out to vote. But it wasn't all black people.
No.
There was a lot of people who
No.
did not, who chose not to come out to vote.
Absolutely.
Because he won by a really slim margin.
Very slim margin. And I definitely don't blame it on black people. Or I think that one thing that we neglect to talk about is a lot of people want something to vote for, right? And I think that we have a duty to kind of give people to vote for and not something to vote for and not just something to vote against. Right.
Good, good.
And
That's
I
good.
think that we need to inspire people and really listen to people about what their needs are to make sure that we're meeting those needs, and people will come out and vote.
Right. But on that national level, how can, you say, okay, what do you need? And they say, well, we need more jobs. Well, some people say, well, the job employment rate is 3% right now. But, a lot of people don't realize that that was started under Obama.
Right, right. And we have to also look at underemployment,
Right.
the amount of people that have to work two and
Two
three
and three
three jobs
Right.
just to, sustain their family life.
Right.
And so there are a lot of things that we can do, and I think that Democrats, we have a lot of ideas, but we're a big tent too. We have to please a lot of people
a
at one.
big, diverse tent.
But we can do it. I think we've shown that. We can do it. And so I think we just need to focus on our values and really reaching out to people and making sure that we're connecting with folk, and not just saying you should vote for us because we're Democrats.
Right, absolutely, because a lot of minorities, especially African Americans, have felt that the Democratic Party has let them down because we vote, and then it seems like some people just kind of turn their backs until it's almost the next time, and here I am for you again. That's been an issue.
Absolutely, and I think that it's all about also being engaged and making sure that the right people are in office as well.
And holding their feet to the fire.
Absolutely, absolutely. Keeping folk accountable. And I think also making sure that we have a hand in who we're selecting before we get to the general as well. Primaries are extremely important,
Right.
especially in strong Democratic districts. And you have the ability to essentially select the person that you think will lead you best before you even get to the Democrat versus Republican phase. So we need to make sure that we're uplifting those folk that have our common values and really invest in them and making sure that we're uplifting their names and not just hoping they get to a certain spot so that we can vote for them later.
Yeah, and that's been an issue here, primaries. People not voting in the primaries. I look at Southfield, I look at Oak Park, I look at Detroit, and the totals, and it's amazingly low.
In 2018, at least in my district, it was very, very high. So I think we reached kind of over 60%
Oh, that was
voter
great. That was great.
participation. We were seeing kind of presidential levels in my primary.
Excellent.
And so I was very, very surprised when I received over 10,000 votes in my primary, because usually it's about that kind of vote, right? Like about 10,000 people. The voter turnout, at least in my district and in Michigan, I mean, as you can see, just with our governor and our
Yes.
Secretary of State and our
People, man,
Attorney
people,
General,
yes, yes.
we swept the statewides, and we got a lot more Democrats elected, and we actually picked up 6 seats.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
I was so excited about
Yes.
that.
Yes. So when we say that 4 is a tough road, to take the House, it is. But we picked up
Right.
more than that in 18.
I'm just looking at the particular districts.
Sure.
That That's what I chatter my teeth at that.
Yes, and I think it's about candidates that are truly representative of their districts as well. I think that that's really, really important.
And they appeal to the people.
Absolutely.
And don't take votes for granted.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So this summer, I actually knocked over 3,000 doors with my team and just did legislative walks, meaning I just gave my information out to my legislative office and said, hey, do you need anything?
Okay, so what's next? Okay, you're into the infrastructure, you're into education,
Yes.
you're into jobs.
Yes.
I mean, people, this underemployment.
Yes.
So what are you working on now?
I'm working on criminal justice reform, even though that wasn't one of the top
no,
things
but
that I
that's
listed. But
important
yes,
also.
Sitting on the Judiciary Committee, I've been able to have my hand in a lot of different issues. I actually got my first bill passed into law back in May, and it was criminal justice reform. I have another bill pertaining to the wrongful Imprisoned Compensation Act to allow people to have more access to justice, and that passed the House floor, went through committee, and is sitting in Senate Judiciary. We've had a hearing, and so I'm hopeful that they're going to vote it out soon, and hopefully vote it out on the Senate floor and make its way to the governor's desk.
Well, we're almost out of time. Can I ask you to come back another time
Absolutely.
and catch up with us and let us know about what's going on?
Absolutely, and I will also let you know that I'm having a criminal justice town hall on February 29th.
Right.
It's going to be at Christian Tabernacle Church in Southfield. We're going to have an expungement clinic and also some panels of judges
Excellent.
and criminal defense attorneys, and so people can really get a robust view of what the criminal
Make
justice
sure I
system
get
looks like.
that information
I
before that.
absolutely.
On leap year.
Absolutely.
The 29th.
I know. Yes.
Well, Kyra, I'm sorry. State Rep Kyra Harris Bolden.
Kyra's fine.
You saw her here. You'll see her again. I'm so proud of her, and we all should be. She's going to do great things for us.
Thank you.
Thank you
for
so
having me.
much.
Thank you so much.
Oh, my goodness. So we'll be back with Table Talk, but we have a special guest who we're going to do a brief interview with Ivana, well, I call it Jasmine Espy, about her documentary. And then we're going to discuss some things about about what's happening in the country. Like, do you feel safer now? So we'll be back in just a few moments with Table Talk. Stay tuned.
In the world of digital broadcasting, transmitters and exciters sometimes do this. If this happens when you're watching WHPR TV 33, please do this. Watch us on Fire Stick, Roku, Apple TV, Google TV, or TV33WHPR.com. Download the WHPR TV app, and we can also be heard on Amazon Echo. So remember, if you see this, you can do this and support the station that supports you.